I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you. No other will do. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. I just want to be the one you love. And with your admission that you feel the same, I'll have reached the goal I'm dreaming of. Believe.
That just completely threw me off. But ladies
Sorry.
and gentlemen, once again, we are joined here once more for another episode of the BOOM. Of course, my name is Cam G. I am the host of the most, as always. And of course, my co-host at this time, that is the man, the myth, the legend, Phil Kahn. And of course, the man with the old Saint Nick hat on, that is the man of the ones and twos, making sure the show runs smooth, Metalcore Mike. Gentlemen, as always, as I ask at the top of the hour, when we start the boom, how is your Wednesday evening going?
So I gave a name to the pumpkin that's on the microphone tonight. Its name is Spice.
Nice. Pumpkin spice. Got it.
And for everybody who's wondering why I'm wearing a hey, if Jack Skellington can wear a Santa hat during Halloween and Nightmare on the Nightmare Before, because I know it's a Christmas movie, but is Halloween based too. He can wear a Christmas hat. I can wear one too.
That's hilarious. That the name of the pumpkin is hilarious, by the way.
Hey,
that's
Spice
genius.
is cool.
I like it. I have no problems with it at all. But yeah, if that is all that's going on right now, we're going to get into this very special episode of AEW Dynamite called Fright Night Dynamite. Of course, they were live from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm very familiar with Cleveland, Ohio. I was in SummerSlam back in August for SummerSlam, in Cleveland, Ohio. So very, very fun time, obviously. So I'm very familiar with that. So we opened Dynamite, obviously. Like I said, I love to see when Dynamite, or AEW rather, flexes their production, chops. They flex their production muscles. They don't do it. I don't think they do it as much as WWE does it. I think WWE does it a lot more. But I definitely love when they do from time to time, showcase what they can do production wise. And I just love the way it opened tonight. It just gave that that Halloween feel. I love the narration for tonight, especially for Private Party. Will they win the tag team titles or will the party be over? Like, I just love that. That gave me chills just opening up the show. So props to them just for opening up the show the way they did, red hot like they did. I thought that was fantastic. And then, of course, from there, we then got another video package pretty much, stacked on top of each other of the BCC, obviously attacking Chuck Taylor from last week. And then when that video package was going on, we then hear the voice of none other than freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy himself saying, stop this. And he gets right into brass tacks. So, he comes out and he's basically showcasing a light that, we don't normally see him in. And, he was basically acting and talking as the leader of the AEW locker room. And, he's saying, he's like, hey, I'm going to fight this good fight. I'm going to be their leader that they so desperately need right now in this time. And he eventually then calls out Jon Moxley and he challenges Jon Moxley to the AEW World Championship match. That will be happening at, of course, Full Gear. That was obviously made later in the evening, made official. So it'll be Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy. But I'm gonna get you guys' thoughts on this opening segment with Orange Cassidy. Mike, I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah, I mean, last week we ended the show with a very upset Orange Cassidy. I mean, he was not happy. And I went back and watched that video time and time again throughout the week just to kind of get the feel of what we were going into tonight, cuz I knew we were going to get something from him. There was no way we were not getting anything from Orange Cassidy tonight. So, watched the video a couple times, and hearing some of the guys in the background saying like, "Hey, we got to stick together, we got to fight this to get, like, we got to be a united front, going against this group who is raining chaos on the AEW locker room." It all basically fell on Orange Cassidy's shoulders at the end of the day. And hence the reason why we get this opening segment. And last time we got Orange Cassidy challenging for a world championship, I believe, was 2021 at Double or Nothing in a triple threat with him, Kenny Omega, and Pac. I think Orange Cassidy, between then and now, should have been going for the world title at least once between then and now. But I'm kind of glad he's getting it now. I'm glad what he did tonight. His promo tonight was very believable because with his gimmick and cutting a promo like this, some people would say, this really isn't believable. We're used to Orange Cassidy being this whole like hands in pocket type of guy, doesn't talk a lot, but has great ring presence. Tonight, seeing the side of Orange Cassidy that we got was not only great, but it was refreshing. I guess refreshing would be the word that I'm looking for, because his gimmick, it never got old, but he needed to evolve. And especially with having to face a group like the BCC and challenging Jon Moxley for the world title at Full Gear. I'll say this. It got me saying, I think I got to get tickets. I think I need to go to Full Gear because it's in Jersey. It's an hour and 15-minute drive from me. I think I need to get tickets, hop in the car, and go just to see this main event. Now, the question would lie is, and I'm not putting this question out there, I'm just saying, like, in general thing, like, do they ultimately go that route? That's the next question. Do they go the route of giving Orange Cassidy the ball and letting him run? Because we just got Moxley as the champion. And this is a pretty, again, Orange Cassidy, pretty convincing in his promo tonight, has you believing like he's going in fighting. We're not going to see the hands in the pocket. We're not going to see the sunglasses, anything like that. We're going to see Orange Cassidy coming out, getting ready to kick some ass.
I mean, I still think you get Orange Cassidy, make no mistake about it, but I do think you get a more focused Orange Cassidy. He realizes what's on the line. It's not just about the world title. He's fighting for AEW essentially. He's waving the he's the flag bearer. He feels like right now to defend AEW from this new radical group that's pretty much anti AEW right now. That's trying to tear down what everything they know right now for essentially. I mean, you heard him talk about how if they accomplish whatever they are trying to accomplish for this anti AEW run, the guys in the back, they don't have a place to go. They're out of a job essentially. So, but yeah, it's definitely something that he's defending. He's basically like the front line essentially. That's a little callback to TNA right there for you. So
that's exactly what I was thinking. Main Event Mafia frontline, circa 2008.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking too.
That's exactly what this is. Yeah,
that's basically what they are, is the front line of AEW, taking on this group that the BCC, formed out as looking like the Main Event Mafia. This is a very long building storyline. It's not going to end with Moxley and Orange Cassidy. This is going to keep going.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great.
And that's why I think I don't think Orange Cassidy takes the title off Moxley. Moxley, I think, is just getting started with the championship right now. And like I said, right now this group is still building steam. I think we still have to figure out what is really going on with this group. What even why did Moxley even formed this group in the first place. You know, I mean, he's been speaking in riddles up to this point. So yeah, we still have to figure that out, obviously. And like I said, that's why I don't think they gave him the ball right this second. But hey, it's pushing, you know, Orange Cassidy, as you said, it's a breath of fresh air to see him in a different light because we don't normally see him in this light at all. So, but yeah, no, it's fantastic what they're doing right now. I think this is one of my favorite, you know, storylines going on right now in AEW. It's just complete chaos, and it involves everyone. Like everyone's getting a piece of the pie, you know, small or big. But Allison in chat, thank you for joining the stream tonight for the boom. Phil, I'm gonna get your thoughts on this opening segment with Orange Cassidy.
I felt like this is exactly the way that Dynamite needed to kick things off with what we last left off with on last week's Dynamite. I did not want to end last week's Dynamite and then just not hear anything from Orange Cassidy. That is the least thing I ever wanted to see, was to just not hear from Orange Cassidy. We needed to hear from him, and I'm glad we did at the start of the show. He said he's no leader, but at the end of the day, he kind of needs to be. He needs to be that guy to, you know, stand up for AEW and for the rest of the locker room and, you know, take the bull by the horns, per se, and just, you know, try to get the BCC down and out of their way. And that's exactly what he's going to be doing in this AEW World title match at Full Gear. Now, do I expect Orange Cassidy to win the AEW World Championship? No, but this is going to be the right step in the right direction for the rest of the locker room to say, look, if Orange Cassidy is going to be stepping up to the leader, per se, of this BCC group, or now what I feel like, I heard they're now being called the Death Riders, so I don't know if that's a legit name for them now, but regardless if that is, if Orange Cassidy is going to be stepping up to the leader, per se, of the Death Riders, then we need to step it up as well. Because if we don't, we're all just going to have AEW cease to exist, and we do not want that to happen. So this was great, and I absolutely loved what they did here tonight with that.
Did you just call them the Death Riders?
It was the Death Riders. Yeah, that's what I heard people call them tonight.
Okay.
I'm gonna try my best to not lose my cool on that. Totally.
Like I said, that's just what people were calling them. That's obviously probably not the official name of them,
No.
but let's just call the BCC to BCC, please.
Yeah, that's I'm just continuing to call them the Blackpool Combat Club. So, but all right, I didn't even catch on to that, but good eye on that one, I guess. So, okay. But then next we then got, I believe, we got Mercedes Moné backstage with Renee, and of course Camille Brickhouse by her side as always. You know, they were talking about, you know, the match regarding her and of course Chris Statlander later on in the evening. And of course, you know, she said that, you know, basically Chris Statlander cannot hold a candle to Camille Brickhouse in that particular ring. So Renee tries to wish them good luck. And, you know, obviously, you know, Mercedes brushes that off and says, we don't need luck when you have the CEO. Moving on, we then had our first match of the night, which was a returning Adam Cole for the first time since a serious ankle injury versus Buddy Matthews, House of Black's Buddy Matthews. In this match, Buddy Matthews out to prove that Adam Cole is fragile. He is not the old Adam Cole that we are used to. He is a fragile version of Adam Cole. This was a fantastic match. Obviously, there was a show of respect with a handshake from the start between the two of them. That was very unexpected to see, especially from, you know, somebody like Buddy Matthews in, you know, given the group that he runs with. But no, this was a great match. I think a lot of this match, I think, was you know, them kind of sizing each other up. You know, various shoulder tackles and various collar and elbow tie-ups. But ultimately, this was a fantastic match, I thought. And this was a great match. This match, I think, will be overlooked for the mere fact that I think this was a great match to really test Adam Cole. The biggest story, obviously, was the surgically repaired ankle. And another thing to add on top of that I think also, also made it very, very difficult for Adam Cole was the fact that he had a brand spanking new pair of boots on in this particular match. I don't know if that was for more security. I don't know if he just felt safer that way, you know, wrestling in these pair of boots versus like his older pair of wrestling boots, you know, more stability or whatever for that ankle. But you could definitely tell he was definitely favoring that ankle and kind of moving very, very gently in this match, not wanting to push it too hard. So let's just hope that, eventually, as time goes on, he definitely does get the hang of things back in that ring. Adam Cole, like I said, Adam Cole is great in that ring. When you get a healthy Adam Cole, he produces great bangers of matches. We've seen that in the past. We've seen that in NXT. We've seen that in AEW. Everywhere he's gone, especially in Ring of Honor. So we have definitely seen him be able to produce. That is not something that is a fear when it comes to Adam Cole. At one point in this match, Adam Cole hit a very familiar heat seeker pile driver on Buddy Matthews. And at this point, this was a turning point of the match, I think, because I believe the fans kind of turned on Adam Cole a little bit. I think they started kind of booing Adam Cole, anything he did, and they were kind of behind more Buddy Matthews. I don't know if that's because maybe they are just tired of Adam Cole coming back and then getting injured again and be on the shelf for several months and then coming back again and basically having to restart, or if that's just because they don't really get to see a lot of Buddy Matthews, especially in singles matches, him being part of a trio, and they really wanted to see him really win this match over Adam Cole. Either way, I think that is something they should keep an eye on. It might, I don't know, potentially stunt his growth in terms of what they plan to do with the Undisputed Kingdom. Honestly, like I said, I think they need to end that, or just have Roddy and the boys turn on Adam Cole and then push Adam Cole on his own. I think it's time to just have Adam Cole on his own. But overall, of course, at one point in this match, I thought this was a great point in the match as well. Buddy Matthews obviously targeting the injured ankle, the surgically repaired ankle of Adam Cole. Adam Cole was helped by trainers as they interfered in this match. And basically was taking him away from the match as he was limping away. And he basically gets on the mic and says, "Hey, I want the old Adam Cole. This new Adam Cole is just fragile. He breaks too easily. The old Adam Cole would have fought through that and still kept coming back at me." So of course, then that entices Adam Cole to come back in the ring and finish his match. Of course, he levels Buddy Matthews eventually during this course of this match with the boom. Get it? The boom, because it's the boom of the show. The boom finishing maneuver and the 1, 2, 3. And Adam Cole wins this match. Adam Cole getting on the mic after the match and thanking Buddy Matthews, obviously, for, reminding him who Adam Cole was. And then, of course, another handshake at the end of the match. Lights go out, come back on, and standing in the place of Buddy Matthews was Malachi Black. So I guess that is the next true test for Adam Cole, is Malachi Black versus Adam Cole. So I'm gonna get you guys' thoughts on this. Phil, I'm gonna start with you.
I thought this was a great way to get Adam Cole back into the swing of things. For real, when it comes down to his first matchup back in AEW for so long. Buddy Matthews is a great talent. We all know this. We want Buddy Matthews to really do more within this company. But Adam Cole needed a great partner to get back into the swing of things, and that's exactly what he got. He looked great out there, did Adam Cole. Those boots were different, but I do fully believe that is purely just for the protection side of things when it comes down to his ankle. And, if that's the way that he has to wrestle for a couple of weeks just to really get that ankle back in gear, and so be it. It didn't really look out of the ordinary from him, and honestly, he looked fine for what it was. I do like the call to the actual ankle itself throughout the rest of the entire match, how he was selling throughout that whole situation. So really good stuff here. Just very glad Adam Cole is back on AEW television. And I honestly really can't wait to see his matchup against Malachi next week on Dynamite. So honestly, really good stuff here.
Mike?
I expected this match to be as good as it was. It was a really, really good match. I didn't expect it to go as long as it did. With intros and everything included, it was about a 20, 25-minute match. In ring when the bell rang, it was about 20. I thought it was going to be a lot shorter because I could see Adam Cole and Buddy Matthews giving us another match somewhere down the road and them saving some stuff for said match number 2. But overall, great match between these two. I'm excited for Malachi and Adam Cole next week. That's going to be a banger of a match. And how they did the whole lights out thing, and then Malachi Black was in there shaking his hand. Like, that was cool. AEW gets a lot of trash talk, whether it comes to production, crowd, TV views, whatever, anything like that. But they do a lot of cool stuff. And it's a lot of cool stuff that people miss. And even though it was something simple like the lights going out, Malachi coming into the ring and replacing Buddy Matthews was still cool. So I'm looking forward to Adam Cole and Adam Cole and Malachi Black next week. I can't wait for it. Let's get to next Wednesday already. Seriously, I'm ready for it.
Takeover Philadelphia rematch. Do it.
That's right. It's in Philly next week.
Yes, it is.
And
Yeah.
the last time we actually saw this was Takeover in Philadelphia for NXT. So
Yeah.
kind
A
of full,
lot of nostalgia hitting next week.
kind of full
Okay.
circle there. I can't wait for
Yeah.
that.
Definitely coming full circle. We would definitely have to find out what goes down in that match next week in Philadelphia between Malachi Black and Adam Cole. I'm sure it's going to be nothing short of a banger. We go to the back with Renee standing with the interim EVP Christopher Daniels and of course Private Party to take on later on in the night the then reigning tag team champions, the Young Bucks, for the tag team titles. If they fail to beat the tag team champions and win the tag team titles, they will disband. Obviously, they were just, hyping up that match particularly. Now, one thing that I completely forgot that that Danielson had brought up was the fact that, he was a part of a trio, SoCal Uncensored, I believe that's what they were called. And at one point they challenged the Bucks, I believe, for the tag team titles. It was the Bucks versus Danielson and Kazarian at the time, and same stipulation, essentially same stipulation, and that stipulation being that if they had failed to capture the tag team titles, they were to disband, and they were the ones that came up short in that particular match. And they were never a tag team ever again after that. So he was kind of warning them of that, but of course Zay obviously told him like, hey, thanks for the warning, but I think we got this. We will become the new tag team champions later in the evening. So then from there we move on to we go to break. Then after the break, we come back and we have the Undisputed Kingdom with Adam Cole. Adam Cole obviously being attended to with the trainers. Looking at his ankle, obviously he cuts a promo. He basically tells MJF like, "Hey, we were never supposed to work anyway as friends. I think we were kind of like-minded, thinking probably the same things. And either I was going to turn on you or you were going to turn on me." He then, runs down a list of the bad track record that MJF pretty much has when it comes to turning on his so-called friends. Now, the two people that he left out. I mean, he mentioned Guevara, he mentioned Wardlow, he mentioned Garcia, but two people that I think the most notable that he left out was obviously William Regal and then of course Cody Rhodes. So those are also two people that he also turned on as well. So he makes a good point. He definitely makes a good point about MJF in his track record when it comes to turning on people. I'm gonna get you guys' thoughts on this because from here we then go to another promo, which is from Kyle Fletcher. But before we get to that, I'm gonna get you guys' thoughts on the promo with Adam Cole and everything he said with regarding MJF. Mike, I'm gonna start with you.
I mean, this whole thing with MJF and Adam Cole, if you look back to when this whole thing started between these two, it was Adam Cole trying to show MJF the light, show MJF that he can be a nice guy and he can make friends and people can be by his side and behind him and everything. And MJF was like, no, this can't happen. And then he eventually did. And MJF let his guard down. We fast forward to World's End, and Adam Cole ends up initially screwing MJF, being the devil. And yeah, we've seen the signs throughout the months. We did. It was kind of an obvious thing. So what? Who cares? It was a great storyline. My question is where did that go? Because Adam Cole comes back from injury, and MJF comes back. MJF was the babyface, and Adam Cole was the heel, and now the roles reversed. And that's what got me a little confused. Is they role reverse this. And there really hasn't been much mention of anything of it. They've mentioned it, but it was like a hindsight mention. It was like, yeah, like we did this to you, Adam or MJF, but we're the good guys in this situation. This is why. And Adam Cole kind of made the sense of why. But they had so much, they had such a big storyline built for this. And they could have dug so much deeper into it in the returns. We're going to get Adam Cole and MJF at Full Gear. It's going to happen. We know it. The question is Adam Cole's ankle, is it truly banged up again? Or is this just a mirror? And we'll find that out next week. So I'm still kind of confused on the fact of why didn't we dig into this story of the devil thing? And that's what I would want to find out. I would love to see them dig into that.
Well, explain that. What do you mean by that?
So we got the whole devil storyline. Okay. And Adam Cole was the heel. And MJF was the babyface. They came back and they switched roles. Just out of nowhere. Okay. Why did they not keep Adam Cole as the heel? Because it was working great. And MJF as the babyface had the crowd in the palm of his hand.
See, they tried to. The problem is the reveal was far too obvious. And then they surrounded him with the Undisputed Era, aka Undisputed Kingdom, which that's not their own product. That's just cut and copy of NXT's thing they tried to do. So yeah, and then with Cole being hurt, it just that's the thing that derailed it, was the fact that he was hurt during that time.
And I get that.
And so him being hurt at that time, there wasn't really a whole lot they could have done with it. And then the Undisputed Kingdom thing, especially with Roddy, it basically became a comedy thing because he's like, Adam. That whole thing became a comedy bit.
Well, I mean, the whole comedy,
it just fell apart.
The whole comedy bit too was the whole fact he was holding Adam Cole up at houses and having him clean and do things for him and everything like that. But they could have dug deep into it because they could, and this is why. You took a heel Adam Cole and a heel Undisputed Kingdom, you turned them babyface, and you turned MJF back to a heel out of nowhere, overnight, on a return. Okay. MJF, when he was a babyface, like you said, somewhat I still think, in my opinion, he had the crowd in the palm of his hand. He did. And he still does as a heel, but he says things that has the crowd not liking him so much. And we know MJF, he works great as a heel. I wanted to see MJF work and fully dig into the babyface thing. I wanted to see how far they can take it. And the reason why I'm asking about getting the story back from the devil thing is because we never really got too deep into it. It got cut off. So what was the conclusion of the story? What was the purpose? Because we didn't get the full purpose either. They just left it as a cliffhanger, and Adam went out, MJF left, and that was that. 7 months later, here we are. 8 months later, here we are.
I mean, honestly, I think the payoff was essentially just Adam's way of just sneakily getting at MJF without being found out, and then revealed himself and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm the one that was after the world title the whole time. I'm the one that was going to turn on you this whole time." Here's what I think. What they could have done, they should have just done without the devil thing, and just had Adam turn on MJF.
They could have done that.
Because you know what I'm saying? Like if the reveal's that obvious, like why not just have Adam Cole? You don't need the Undisputed Kingdom like that. Yeah. You just threw in a bunch of people that had no involvement whatsoever with this. Yeah. In my eyes, you know what I mean? That's where it's like, okay, you're just clumping some people together because you're trying to recreate what was in NXT.
See, and you're probably going to be wondering, you're probably going to ask me like how when I say this, but that would have made more sense and would have gave more of a closure. Because when you've seen how Adam Cole was towards MJF after their matches, like at All In, or after their like a couple tag team matches where it looked like Adam was going to attack MJF, it would have been more explanatory. The question is why did he have to be revealed as the devil? What's the story behind him having to be the devil? You know what I mean? I'm making sense in my head, but I know I'm not making sense to anybody else. So I'm just gonna stop myself because it's far gone, it's past, and I'm gonna let it go. I am.
I think you're thinking too much into it. I honestly think it was
That's
the
why I'm
whole devil,
stopping.
the whole devil thing. It was just the mask, and it was because MJF called himself the devil, and MJF wore the devil mask. So again, it was some odd way of Cole getting to turn on MJF and then using his own shtick against him. So I guess that's kind of what it was or whatever. But anyways, Phil, I'm gonna get your thoughts on this particular segment.
Yeah, to me, the injury thing really just threw everything off when it came down to that whole double segment, double storyline, and things they tried to keep it happening, but it just really wasn't going to work out. And the role reversals at the end of the day, I like both of them the way they are now anyway. I like Adam Cole way more as a babyface, and I like MJF way more as a heel. So I'm perfectly fine with the role change, and honestly, I'm perfectly fine with where they are right now. But I like with everything that is happening with Adam Cole right now, and the way they shot that segment, with Roddy and the Kingdom in the back with him as he was getting checked out by doctors. I thought that was a really good segment overall. I think that was kind of shot on purpose. At the end of the day, I do think that the Kingdom is just going to turn on Adam Cole. I do. I don't see that partnership lasting much longer, if at all, after all of this is said and done. I'm not saying that the Kingdom and Roddy are joining MJF in any way, shape, or form, because I don't think that would make sense in any capacity. But right now, we all just know that it's going to be Adam Cole and MJF at Full Gear. And that's just really the end goal with all of this. And once that match is all said and done, I think that we can kind of just put the shit to bed and let them do their own separate things, because Adam Cole should be on his way to doing bigger and better things after this, and so should MJF, quite honestly. So I'm perfectly fine with how everything is going right now. They tried their hardest to make that whole storyline with the devil work out, but with the injuries and just all of the setbacks, it just really was not going to be the case. So we'll see where it all ends up. I did see that comment earlier about saying that we didn't really need an explanation because the storyline sucked. I don't subscribe to that, and I know I don't mean to call that person out. I'm just saying that I don't subscribe to the notion of we don't need an explanation because the storyline sucked. To me, I don't even really think the storyline sucked. It just things got so much in the way of things happening to where it really should be progressing, to where it's just they kind of almost completely dropped it, but then they realized, like, wait a minute, we have to have a conclusion to this, so let's bring it back to television, flip the roles, and make Adam Cole be the good guy in all of this. So I don't think it sucked. I think there was just a lot of obstacles that it faced to get to where we are right now.
I agree. Like I said, I said it again. The injury to Adam Cole would just really put a damper on this whole storyline and where it was going. So, but yeah, you're right though. They definitely tried to they tried to make it work. They forced it, but it just I don't think it was
Adam
gonna
Cole
work.
on television through the injury to try to make
Yeah.
it work. Just did
Yeah.
not work out.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys, real quick. Back when this whole storyline was at the heat of everything, we talked a lot about these two had to face off, and the world title had to be involved. Do you think at this point we need to have the world title involved with these two?
No, because Adam Cole's nowhere near world title ready.
I agree.
Not at all. So many setbacks. He's in the back of the line.
And
if
then
you ask me,
should get back on the road to getting that world title back, but it does not need.
See, but I'm glad you guys said no, because when you look at the landscape of the AEW World Heavyweight Championship right now, it completely shifted.
Yeah.
Even after Swerve won it. It shifted. You had Swerve holding the belt. You had Hangman wanting to go after it. You had a bunch of people wanting to go after it. You still do to a sense. But even after Swerve lost it to Danielson and Danielson lost it to Mox, the landscape shifted as far as challengers.
Yeah.
And MJF and Adam Cole are so far away. I think this Full Gear match necessarily should be the closeout of this storyline. Like, they don't need to go further with it. They don't. This needs to just be it. Let it go. Maybe somewhere down the road we get them again and have it mean a little more, maybe for a championship or whatnot. But as of right now, with the way the landscape is with the AEW World Title, it wouldn't make any sense.
Down the road, it can be for the world title, but it doesn't need the title right now, mainly because of the fact that they're just so far beyond where they are from the world title. Just keep it the way it is, and then maybe you can revisit something down the line.
Thanks,
we got Orange Cassidy going after the championship. We saw the championship tonight.
Yeah. Right.
Challenge it. We seen the belt tonight. It was in that briefcase, and that's where
Oh, there you
Mox
go.
is keeping it. Yeah. So we've seen the belt.
Kind of feel like that's signifying something. I feel like we're getting a customized AEW World Title.
And Hangman even made a mention of it, tonight. Christian holding the contract to challenge for it whenever. So it's there. There's challengers. There's people looking at it. It's just that specifically tonight, you really didn't hear too much about it beyond Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley, like we would on a normal Dynamite. Like on a normal Dynamite, we would hear 5 different guys saying like, "I'm going after the AEW World Title." Where tonight it was just Orange Cassidy.
So that's probably a refreshing thing because it's
it
just
was.
one person and
Very
they're just focusing on just that match instead of just 5 challengers at once.
The word of the night is refreshing.
Stay focused like this.
There you go.
When they're focused like this, it means something more.
Yeah.
So
What do you think, Spice? Refreshing? Says yes.
hell yeah. See, he knows he's about.
But then next we then got a promo with Kyle Fletcher, new look, as he buzzed his hair last week. Finished it behind. It was like backstage or whatever. He half buzzed it on the promo. But anyways, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't even realize who this was at first. He comes out with like dark shades on. He honestly kind of looks taller with a buzzed head. So I honestly thought this was like freaking Dijak for a second. That's what he was looking like.
So that's the key.
I thought he was Dijak for a second. I don't know why.
So
That's what he looked like to me.
if he looks
Anyway.
if he looks taller with a shaved head, does that mean if I grow my hair, I might look taller?
Maybe.
I don't know.
First role.
I didn't think about that, but possibly.
I saw somebody call him the Timu Pitbull today, so I don't know what the fuck that meant, but
That
okay.
makes sense.
That's great. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. But he was calling out Will Ospreay, obviously, which we all know that Will Ospreay apparently is quote unquote still recovering from the injuries that he suffered at the hands of Kyle Fletcher. So he was not coming out during this particular segment, but instead we then got a returning Mark Davis, his former partner, longtime partner. He's been injured for like the better half of a year, they had said, which is why Kyle Fletcher has been, working as a singles wrestler up to this point. And he was like, hey, you should. He tried to get him to join the family. He said, hey, join the family. And Mark Davis is like, we had a united empire. We had an empire that you destroyed. And then, of course, as Mark Davis is walking away from the situation, walking away from Don Callis and Kyle Fletcher, he says there will come a time where you have to make the tough decision. And I am not afraid to cut the past away. So I'm going to get you guys' thoughts on this particular promo with Kyle Fletcher and a returning Mark Davis. And do we see Mark Davis as a singles wrestler moving forward? Or do we see the return and the forming of Aussie Open as heels and see Mark Davis turn on Will Ospreay when Will Ospreay returns on our screens? Phil, I'm going to get your thoughts on this.
The latter is what I want to see. I want to see Aussie Open back together. I do. Because I think that tag team was sorely missed. And honestly, you know, Mark Davis just being a singles guy. Nothing against the guy, but I've seen Kyle and Mark Davis together, and I would kind of want to just keep them together because that's where they kind of fit best. Kyle Fletcher has been doing some fantastic stuff on his own since becoming that singles guy since Mark Davis was away. But Aussie Open being back together and being that duo to go after Will Ospreay just seems a lot more interesting to me right now. So I would kind of like to see that together. But overall, I'm glad that Mark Davis is back because we haven't seen him in quite some time. And man, he was missed on TV because Aussie Open was that damn good of a tag team when they worked together. So great stuff.
I agree. I definitely would like to see Aussie Open back. And again, this will just bolster the tag team division, adding another great tag team back into that roster. Mike, I'm gonna get your thoughts on this.
I see Davis going on his own. I do. I don't see them forming Aussie Open back together. You look at how the Don Callis family is right now. You got their tag team in Brian Cage and Lance Archer. That's their tag team. Kyle Fletcher is going to move forward as a singles guy. Takeshita obviously moving forward as a singles guy. They got their tag team in Brian Cage and Lance Archer. I see Davis going forward as a singles guy. And that's one thing I noticed with AEW over the past couple years is we'd mentioned about SCU a couple minutes ago. Okay, they came into AEW as one of the hottest tag teams in AEW. They were the first ever AEW World Tag Team Champions. And then in due time, that just got broken up. Just out of nowhere got broken up. And you notice that there's some groups that are still together since day one. But I mean, look at Chris Jericho. He's on his third group in 5 years. We went from the Inner Circle to the JAS to the Learning Tree. We've seen some members of Dark Order break out on their own. SCU's not together no more. So you're starting to see AEW kind of try and create their own things opposed to keeping together things that are coming in from other places. And that's why I feel like Davis goes out on his own. Aussie Open is done because Will Ospreay was part of that group. Will Ospreay's on his own now. If Ospreay's not there, yeah, you still have Davis and Fletcher as a tag team. But again, Don Callis family has their tag team. And we talked very heavily about them last week. So I say Davis goes on his own.
Well, we'll definitely have to see what happens if Mark Davis decides to stay on his own or if we see the reform of Aussie Open. We head to the back once again, and we have Hangman Adam Page speaking to Jay White, and of course their match coming up at Full Gear. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on this, but this was the best Hangman promo, I think, probably of 2024. This was just stone cold. I mean, bone chilling. This is exactly what you need from Hangman Adam Page. Love this promo. Love everything about it. Love what he was saying. It's amazing. It's amazing that this man is red hot, and there has not been a dull moment since Hangman Adam Page has come back. The feud with Swerve, the stuff with Jarrett that he's done, and the stuff that he's done with Jay White thus far has been nothing short of spectacular, I think. If you guys have any thoughts on this, please let me know.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, just to follow up with what you just said. Hangman, ever since coming back, has just been phenomenal. I know there's been a lot of down talk about what happened a week or two ago with, him laying on the ground by ringside and having this silly look on his face. It's like, we all know that was a messed up spot, that had nothing to do with his character or anything like that. Let's move on. Let's stop talking about it and let it go, people. Seriously. Hangman is doing phenomenal work with this character that he's doing now. Him and Jay White, I mean, I didn't get to see their match at the pay-per-view. I didn't get to see the last pay-per-view. But I heard it was a phenomenal match. And we get this match again. I'm going to make sure that I see it. Whether I'm at Full Gear or I'm at home watching it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that I see it because I know I missed something great and I know I'm not going to miss it again. Like I said, these two can go at it just like Swerve and Hangman. Great rivalry. Can see these guys wrestle every week and wouldn't get sick of it. Jay White and Hangman, their rivalry building is pretty spectacular, especially with Jay White just coming back. Because again, Jay White had the world title shot, then fell into the trios, then got injured. And it's like, okay, good. They found a good spot for him to start off coming back from this injury. You couldn't have started him off any better coming back from an injury than to feud with the likes of Hangman Adam Page.
I
I agree.
I could not agree more. Yeah, this was amazing stuff by Hangman. This is the best Hangman Adam Page that we have seen in AEW. I said that once and I'll say it again. Like, this is just Hangman Adam Page is just firing on all cylinders right now. And we know that Hangman is just doing just amazing work right now. And the match is going to be fantastic at Full Gear. And it's just going to be continuing a rivalry that has been a really, really good thing for AEW on both accounts, on Hangman Adam Page's and on Jay White's. This was a perfect way to get Jay White back on AEW television. This was a perfect way to just really get him back into the swing of things after his injury. Just overall, a fantastic feud for both of them. And once this is all said and done, I really hope that we can see either both of them in the Continental Classic or at least Jay White, because I know both of them would thrive. And at that point, it would be off to the races, because the Continental Classic for the second time in a row would be an amazing thing to see. So, good stuff.
And if I may speak on, just the fans, well, because we just talked about and mentioned Swerve, the stuff he did with Swerve. A lot of people going into the lights out match with Hangman and Swerve. Some people were kind of complaining, like, oh man, instead of Swerve going back after the world championship, he's continuing this feud with Hangman. This feud just seemed like it's never going to end. So they're complaining that the feud's like never ending, and then Swerve goes away for a while, and then comes back, and then he's, like I said, he's off doing something else. He's, fresh start essentially. He had a match tonight, a fantastic match with Shelton Benjamin that we'll get into. Obviously, the Hurt Syndicate now seemingly complete with Bobby Lashley. We'll talk about that later on in the program as well. And but he comes back and he's doing something different, there. And then they started complaining that, oh well, you just got your house burned down and you're not going after Hangman. You gotta let stuff breathe. Like, you're complaining that we're getting too much of it and it's never ending. And then when they're off doing their own thing, you got Hangman with Jay White, then you got Swerve with the Hurt Syndicate. Now you're complaining that, Swerve is ignoring he's not ignoring Hangman. They're obviously going to come back and have another and reignite that feud, obviously.
Yeah.
So, but you gotta let stuff breathe. If you would have just came back and feuded with Hangman, you'd have complained, "Oh my goodness, we're getting another match. It's never ending." So,
I think AEW would just drop the ball on the feud after what Hangman did to Swerve at the end of that steel cage match. You guys are crazy for thinking that. This is just another way to get these two separated for just a little while, for the time being. That way, when we get back to the swing of things of Hangman and Swerve, for most likely, and honestly quite not kind of hoping, because I could just see them fight forever, but when they do go at it for the final time, it's going to mean a lot more, because now they have finally got rid of whatever kind of obstacles are in their way, and now they can solely focus on each other one final time.
And I'm glad you didn't say one thing, Phil, because honestly, I was going to say this as well. I asked you guys a question a couple minutes ago about Adam Cole and MJF. It's gotten to a point, me as a fan, it's gotten deep into the point where when we get to the final standoff between Hangman and Swerve, me personally, and I don't know how you guys feel, but I don't feel like that even needs to be for the world title. Like, I don't feel like it needs to anymore. These two are so far away from it, to the point where if they were to say, okay, this is going to be our final battle, this is it, this is going to be our final match, and this is what we're going to do, no matter what the stipulation is, world title don't need to be there. Like, we just need to see a final battle between these two.
Yeah, see where you're coming from with that. It doesn't, but if it did involve the world title, saying let's say Hangman was the world champion and Swerve was able to get the job done and win that world title back, I wouldn't mind that. But like you said, it really doesn't technically need it because that one final battle is just that's it. We're done. Get it over with. Not over with essentially, but just let's get it done and be on our merry way.
We'll definitely have to see when they eventually do meet again. But like it's like you said it, Phil. It's going to mean a lot more when they eventually clear out the obstacles, and it's just them two again in the ring. Like I said, they're going to create magic. They have the other 3 matches that they've had so far, so I'm not concerned with it at all.
Now I don't know what they're going to be able to
But
do because they've done
I don't know.
everything under the sun when it comes down to
I don't know.
stipulated matches. What else could they do? Like
maybe they run it back with the barbed wire death match, and we have a better ending to that we got from Kenny Omega and John Moxley. Who knows? I don't know.
I'm just thinking that the
So,
exploding
maybe-
barbed wire match.
Yeah. Splitting the barbed wire death match. Maybe we get that. I would love to see that from Hangman and Swerve. But then of course, right before break, we saw the BCC arrive to the arena, and I gotta say, like I said, obviously, I can't praise this group enough. But I mean, they are just like borderline like militant. I mean, like Moxley starts moving, and it's just like they just follow. Like they don't move a muscle unless they see him start moving. It's amazing. Like just the camera work when they're walking down the hallway. I mean, that is a group. It's like you do not want to cross them in a dark alley. Like they are just scary. And it's and what's great too, just about their overall look of like just what they're wearing. It's just simplistic. Like they're in their fight clothes. Like they're just ready to fight. Like I'm pretty sure Claudio, like even Claudio has changed. Like Claudio, I remember at one point, like I'm pretty sure, especially in his, Cesaro days, he was more of like a clean cut guy. He's always like in the suits and stuff like that. Not anymore. This dude's in like blue jeans and a tank top. Like he's just ready to fight. He's ready to hurt somebody. So you can see that Moxley-esque, aura, I guess you could say, rubbing off on just the whole group, because the whole group is just dressed in hoodies and tank tops. They're ready to fight.
And then
so this is a scary group.
Wrestling attire, but
yeah,
he's just a badass anyway, so you don't even care what he's wearing.
Yeah. So like I said, it's just a scary looking group. So I love what they've done with this group, and I love the way that they look, in the ring, out of the ring, just a scary looking group overall. But of course, then you have Moxley, and we get the promo from Moxley. They make their way to the ring. Obviously, great stuff there. Just our overall visuals from that. And of course, he says he's addressing obviously Orange Cassidy, who challenged him for the world championship, and he's like, wait a second, you don't challenge me. I challenge you. I'm the world champion here. I'm the A side. You're the B side. And then of course, he's like, we don't, the world doesn't know Orange Cassidy to be that leader. Matter of fact, you think you're pulling the strings, and then in a shocking turn of events, it looked like they were ready to sacrifice Wheeler Yuta. I thought it was going to happen. And then, of course, Orange Cassidy comes to the rescue, and it was all a ruse. And then, they attack Orange Cassidy, and then all hell breaks loose. And then we get Private Party, and then, of course, Dark Order. And it just is pure and utter pandemonium and chaos. And then we see one Darby Allin, who we haven't seen, I think, for the last couple of weeks. He ascended essentially from the rafters like Sting, which was pretty cool to see. And then of course, like I said, it's just more and more chaos that ensues from that. So I'm gonna get you guys' thoughts on all of this. Oh, and then of course, then after this, essentially all the chaos dies down. We then get the Bucks coming out after the fact that all this happened, and then of course, Private Party standing in the ring. So then we start the Bucks versus Private Party for the tag team championships. But before we get to that, I'm gonna get you guys' thoughts on this promo and all of the chaos that ensued during this particular segment. Mike, I'm gonna start with you.
I'm going to say this, Tony Khan, I'm surprised. You know what? I don't even know if I'm surprised for you to approve of John Moxley to down talk your whole locker room. And you're probably thinking, Mike, what the hell do you mean? Well, this is what I mean, guys. He literally called everybody in the locker room fat and lazy. Completely down-talked the whole locker room by calling them fat and lazy. I'm surprised that that got by. Because you have a locker room full of athletes. And most of them haven't seen a carb in their life in the past couple years, but they're fat and lazy. Hold on. No, you got a Will Ospreay who goes in the ring and was literally busting his ass as the international champion. He's fat and lazy. Who else you got back there? Ricochet, who's coming in, doing some great work right now, coming in AEW. But he's fat and lazy. I mean, that I was surprised. That kind of like it rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. Honestly, it did. It rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. Because you have a locker room full of athletes that are busting their ass to do their job week in and week out, trying to give the fans great product. And you let one of your guys go out there and say something like that. It bugged me a little bit. Now, yeah, I'm not in the business. I never was in the business, nor have I ever stepped in the ring and did any work. So you're probably thinking, Mike, why are you getting so offended or upset about it? Well, it's because I've been watching this for 34 years, going on 35. I love this industry. I love talking about this industry. I love watching this industry. I love going to shows. I love going to meet and greets. It's just about the respect. And I know it was just a promo, but still. It was just so disrespectful to a whole locker room. And bad enough, this company gets a bad name from people that, are fans, but like to talk shit because everybody else is, or people that aren't fans and will talk shit because they're WWE heads. It doesn't look good. It doesn't. And it adds into the fact that people go out and make videos of clips of wrestlers doing things in the ring. And then people make these homemade videos to make fun of AEW. Like, that's why this bothers me so much, because I love AEW. I do. Again, I don't care about the attendance thing. I don't care about the TV views. I don't care about the pay-per-view buys. I don't give a shit about all that. What I give a shit is about what's on my TV every Wednesday. And then if I watch Friday and Saturday and pay-per-views on Sunday. That's all I care about. I can give a shit if there's 10 people in the crowd and 5 people watching at home. I felt like it was a little disrespectful. And for that to get by, it was sad. It was. As far as this whole thing, though, and I'm sorry for getting off on a tangent with that, this was great. A great decoy with Yuta. I mean, you kind of seen Yuta hesitate a little bit once Orange Cassidy came out. You did. Yuta kind of hesitated a little bit on the attack. So somewhere inside of Yuta, I think he's still kind of questioning whether he made the right decision or not. I think he is. Now, I could be wrong, and I might have just been seeing things, but I seen Yuta. It looked like he was very hesitant on the attack. Darby Allin, it was a cool move to come down from the rafters. A little scary, because even though I know things are safely done now, and they test these things, I still go back to that night back in '99. That can never, ever leave my head as a fan. And that's what scares me with things like that. So, other than that, like you guys said with the whole Claudio Castagnoli thing, I mean, ever since he's been in AEW, he's been a jeans and t-shirt type of guy. He's never worn a suit, as far as I've seen, in AEW. You just seen the transformation, the evolution of him following Moxley rubbing off on him. And that kind of got me thinking a little bit about Orange Cassidy's look lately, too. He's wearing all black.
Yeah, it was black denim this time.
Could it be some type of indication after Full Gear? Maybe.
Maybe.
So, I apologize for going on that little tangent, but that comment alone just bothered me. It did.
Phil, your thoughts?
I thought this was, the fact that they used Wheeler Yuta as a decoy and bait just to get Orange Cassidy out there was incredible stuff. This was just a really good way to get everything kind of just set in gear for John and Orange to go at it at full gear for the title. And also, this was just a really good way to get every other young guy out there to really just set that mission of what John Moxley has been trying to do this entire time. John Moxley is trying to bring back this group to where EEW really used to be. They're trying to tell the young guys to either step up or step aside, or he's just going to take things into the matter of his own hands. And that is exactly what they are doing right here, right now with Orange Cassidy and everybody else that is stepping up to the plate to try to get everything on, the track of getting AEW back to the way things used to be. So I absolutely loved what they did here. I did see that little hesitation that you're talking about, Mike, with Wheeler Yuta. I don't know if that is going to be, further explored upon, but you see these clips on social media where after, he gets out of the chair and he goes crawling into the corner, Marina Shafir is slapping him in the face, basically saying, all right, like, what are you doing? Like, this is like, just snap out of it. You're fine. You're with us. Get your head back in gear and kick his ass, essentially. So I don't know if things are just going to be more further explored upon there, but that was also a really nice detail that we saw there. And hopefully we see more of this down the line, because I thought this was great. The comments of everything, everybody being fat and lazy, that was kind of a little bit weird. But, I think this was kind of just to, further insult them to a point where, look, you guys are just going to have to step up, because at the end of the day, we're taking over one way or another. But I do agree where you came from with that, for sure.
We then got into the Bucks versus Private Party for the tag team championships. If Private Party does not beat the Bucks, they were to disband. Most of this match was the Bucks. The Bucks were in charge most of this match, decimating both Zay and Mark Quinn. At one point, Mark Quinn tried to hit Matthew Jackson with the ring bell and inadvertently hit Zay with the ring bell and opening him up pretty badly. From there, like I said, the Bucks really dug their heels in and started to go to work on both Zay and Mark Quinn. And then, of course, the ace up the sleeve of the Bucks was, of course, Kazuchika Okada coming in and taking out Mark Quinn with a tombstone piledriver on the entrance ramp. And, of course, then that left Zay in the ring with both Matthew and Nick Jackson for the duration of the match. And I mean, like I said, credits goes to Zay, because I mean he was put through the absolute ringer, getting hit with EVPs, even a V trigger. Shouts out to Kenny Omega, and even getting hit with a one-winged angel, and he still kept coming. Of course, Mark Quinn battling back into this match to help his partner, and then of course them hitting Gin and Juice 1, 2, 3. We now have new AEW tag team champions in Private Party. Well deserved. Nice pop from the crowd, obviously, as they were chanting on Private Party during the course of this match. So we have new tag team champions, and of course, then a very uncharacteristic show of respect from the Bucks, handing over the tag team titles to Private Party to signify the end of the reign of the Young Bucks. Mike, I'm gonna get your thoughts on this match.
So I said it to you privately. I'm gonna say it publicly. I apologize that I spoiled for you the end of this match. I do have to apologize, because I hate spoiling things for people. So I apologize, Cam. I truly do. But this was a great match. I mean, we talked about it, that they need to put the tag belts on Private Party. It's time. It's time. This is well overdue. It was. And whether it was a move to do it just to keep Private Party together because of the stipulation, whether they drop the belts in 2 weeks or 3 weeks at Full Gear, whatever it may be, who cares? Like, actually, you know what? I do care because these guys need to have a lengthy run. They do. They have to have a lengthy run. These guys going all the way back to the start. And I know I joke about this a lot and everything like that, but seriously, you go back to the start of AEW and you go back to the first tournament. You know, they're the young kids, deemed as the 8th seed in the tournament for the first ever titles. They beat the Young Bucks. They get that big win over them early on in the era of Dynamite. And then you fast forward to, later on down the road, and these guys have had sets of matches to where the Young Bucks have just gotten the upper hand. Then you get to the point where this matters. Like, things matter. The AEW World Tag Team titles are on the line. And Private Party hasn't had many chances to capture those titles. I think they've only had one other chance to capture those titles, and they failed. It was time to put these belts on them. And I know the whole talk is going to be like, oh, they did this just to keep them together so they didn't break up, because it would have made no sense to break up Private Party because they're an established tag team in AEW, and AEW needs established tag teams to keep their tag team division going together. Who cares? Keep the belts on them for a while. Have them defend them. Have them face tag teams that they've faced before and have had problems with. Hell, let's get a Private Party against Top Flight. Let's get a Private Party against why am I forgetting their name? Freaking A. Why am I forgetting their name?
Who are they?
Scissor me.
Oh, the Acclaimed?
The Acclaimed. Yeah, there we go. Private Party and the Acclaimed. Let's get them facing a bunch of the tag teams that they've had problems with over in the past, and have them defend the belts successfully. Have a great run. Are we going to get back to Private Party and the Young Bucks? Probably. We will. But I think we're going to start seeing a turn of the Young Bucks. I think we are, especially with everything that's going on with the BCC right now. I think the Young Bucks are going to go away for a little bit. I don't think we're going to see them on our TV for the next couple weeks. I would not even be surprised if we don't see them in the rest of 2024. They can come back in 2025 and become back as the babyface, Young Bucks again. And maybe we get a healthy Kenny Omega coming back with them, and we get the original Elite.
That's what I think is happening.
Because Jack Perry, at this point, he needs to go out on his own. He does. He doesn't need to be tied with the Young Bucks. He's the scapegoat. He's built himself up enough to where he does not need to be with the Young Bucks. And he can have his own rivalries and go on his own. I still think he does necessarily what I said he does. Like, if he defends the belt on Dynamite, get up, get in, get out. But on a pay-per-view match, obviously a little longer, but he needs to break away. But this was a great match. Congratulations to Private Party. I'm happy they're the tag team champions, and I'm excited to see what type of run they have.
Phil, your thoughts?
This needed to happen. This right here was an amazing feat for Zay and Quinn to, just really put their names on the map again. Mike, you go back to that tournament because, it meant something to Private Party all those years ago when they were the quote-unquote 8th seed and they beat that Young Bucks team. And, it was just a moment that in AEW, we quite frankly never thought was going to happen. And then when it did happen, we were just thinking like, man, the fact that they did that means that this young team of Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn, they're going to be something in AEW. Then, over the years, we rarely got to see them. And that just completely sucked the life out of the team because then, when we did see them in profile spots, we were like, is this really going to do something for them?
They were in a group called Party Hardy.
Yeah. It was just sad to see how, the mighty have fallen, essentially. But then when we got back to this, And then when we saw things happen in the way that they did, Private Party winning the AEW World Tag Team titles here tonight continues the story of having these young guys step up for AEW and take back what is rightfully theirs. And that is their version of AEW. This was fantastic in every single way. This needed to happen. I'm glad that it happened. And I'm just very happy for Zay and Quen because they deserve this. And they should have a lengthy title run for these tag titles because this should be the revitalization of the AEW tag team division. Get these guys in there with teams like the Acclaimed, like Top Flight, and so many other teams that have just been, I won't say buried beyond belief because buried is way too way too used of the term in professional wrestling, and quite frankly, not many people even really understand what that means. At the end of the day, just get tag team wrestling back into the forefront of AEW, make these tag team championships mean something again, and get tag team wrestling back to where it really should be within AEW. This was fantastic. Congratulations to Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy.
We will definitely have to see what happens with their run as the AEW World Tag Team Champions. But next, we then had Renee backstage with Daphne. No, not Daphne the wrestler, but Daphne from Scooby Doo. Jamie Hayter was really rocking the whole Daphne from Scooby Doo look. Jamie Hayter and Penelope Ford, obviously, there's not much there. Kind of more so. Oh, you took my spot. Oh, no, I took your spot. Blah blah, back and forth. I'm not sure where they're really going with that necessarily. But we would definitely see they have a match next week on Dynamite. From there, then we saw Jack Perry backstage. He was basically getting, schoolyard bullied essentially from Garcia. I don't know what this does for Jack Perry. If you ask me from here on, I can't take Jack Perry serious after this. I really can't. I think ultimately, just what Mike was saying, he definitely needs to go out on his own. I think Danny Garcia needs that TNT championship to really do something with him. Add back prestige to that TNT championship. Have Jack Perry. He can keep the scapegoat gimmick or whatever. But he definitely needs to go out on his own. I think we're definitely going to see a turn from the Bucks. I think they come back with a healthy Kenny Omega. They reform the original Elite as baby faces. So I think that's where we go from there. I don't know what they do with Kazuchika Okada. I think he goes on his own as well. Whether or not he stays heel or he goes back to being a babyface, I don't know. But we will definitely see from there.
I forgot about
Jack Perry. What?
I forgot about Okada.
Yeah, he was. He was in his match. He was in the Bucks match.
Totally forgot about him. I did.
Yeah, fair. I guess.
And if he was in the Bucks match, I missed him.
Yeah, he tombstoned Quinn on the entrance ramp.
I was probably looking away at that moment because I missed him. Not to be a dick.
Okay, well.
Seriously, I missed him.
No, hey, listen. They have so many people on this roster, and they have a portion of this roster they don't use ever, so it's easy to forget about people. So
and Okada's a champion.
I mean, it was quick.
I completely forgot about that. To be completely honest with you. So
see?
the Continental Crown Championship is dead. I'm sorry, it's dead. There's really no prestige on that. There's no one ever talking about, hey, I want a Continental Crown Championship match.
There never should have been a championship in the first place. You win the you win the two tournament, you get a shot at the world title. That's what I would have done for Worlds End. That's all.
Did I ask you guys the cruiserweight title question?
Yes.
Yeah,
I did. Okay, thought so. I forget who I asked that to. I do. I've asked so many people that question.
But and then like I said, Jack Perry, he goes into the locker room of the Bucks, and they look like they're cleaning house. They're getting rid of evidence or something. They're shredding documents and they're packing up their shoes. They're pretty much hightailing it and getting out of the arena. So I don't know what's going on there. Obviously, we can only speculate they will be gone for a sizable time. A couple of months. Maybe they don't come back to World's End. Who knows? But I think they are definitely coming back as baby faces. I think their heel EVP run, I think, is kind of done. It makes no sense because the new heels in town obviously is the BCC. They are running roughshod over Dynamite and AEW right now. So I think they come back and I think they fight the good fight against the BCC, but we will have to find out when they do return. Next, we then had a female match. We had a women's match with Chris Statlander versus Camille Brickhouse. Obviously, a very physical and entertaining match. Ultimately, Statlander gets the win here. I gave this a 2.5 out of 5 rating. I thought this was pretty good, decent for what it was. I maybe expected a little bit more. This is easily the best match I think I've seen from Camille so far. In AEW, you're starting to see the breakdown with Mercedes and Camille, which I think we all expected. With her pretty much ordering her to the back. And hey, if you want something done, you have to get it done yourself, as she says to Chris Statlander. So we are hyping up the road to Chris Statlander versus Mercedes Moné for the TBS Women's Championship. I'm going to get you guys' thoughts on this match. Mike, I'm going to start with you.
She picks up a microphone and goes, if you got to do something, you got to do it yourself. And you know what she did? She pulled the hair of Chris Statlander and then threw her head down. That's it.
That was it.
Like, what the hell did you do?
Nothing.
Nothing. Oh, yeah. Hold on. No, she forearm attacked her from the back. She did that. She did that. But then she pulled her hair and threw it down. I guess that's called taking care of business. I don't know.
Pretty sure Camille can do all of those things. Just saying.
I mean, Camille could have just did that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised they went the route that they did of having Camille lose this early in her AEW career. That surprised me so much. Like, I literally was in shock when the 1, 2, 3 happened. I get it. You got to get Statlander to Mercedes. I get that. And they got to do it quick because we're 3 weeks away from Full Gear, and that match is probably going to happen there. But I think they could have had Camille at least 1 or 2 more matches before doing it for some reason. And the whole fall down of Camille and Mercedes, I think, started too soon. I know it started tonight. It's too soon. Too soon in this relationship. Because there's so much ground that they could cover with having Camille and Mercedes together. It's like they're taking this little storyline of Camille and Mercedes and saying, all right, I think we got something here. And literally, they struck fire. The fire was hot. And somewhere along the way, water got poured on it and kind of took some of the fire away. Sad part is where? Where? Because Camille losing tonight? No. It was bound to happen to get Chris Statlander to Mercedes. But to start it now? No. I normally I have a lot more to say when it comes to the women's division. You guys know that, but I'm just still baffled.
I mean, ultimately, I think I don't think it's too soon. The reason I say that is because I mean you've had Camille since what, January, and then she didn't really do anything till what, July, June,
Yeah,
something of that nature.
She was signed in January and she debuted in September. So
there you go. So to me, I don't think it's too soon, just because, like I said, if it's ultimately going to help Camille and push her in the right direction, because I think ultimately Camille's going to be the one to take the TBS championship off of Mercedes. I don't see Chris Statlander winning this match at Full Gear at all. This is just the prelude to that, I think.
They better have Camille be what her nickname is, and that is a brick house.
Oh yeah.
They better have her dominate the women's division, because if you go back to what they were doing with Jade, and I'm sorry for cutting you off. If you go back to see what they were doing with Jade, they had Jade being this whole dominant force, 500 some odd days as champion, beating everybody, 50-0. And then Chris Statlander comes back and beats her in this, impromptu title match to get the title off Jade because, Jade was leaving. But if Jade was still in AEW, I think to this day she'd still be undefeated. She would still be dominating the women's division. I'm not saying she would be the world champion at this point. I think she would still have the TBS title on her.
Dear God.
That's where you can insert Camille. Because Camille, I mean, when you look at the size of Camille and Jade, they're mirrored. They're tall. They got the muscular stature. Like, Camille can be what her nickname is, and that is a brick house. So if you're going to do it now, Do it now. Do it quick. Beat Mercedes for the belt and get Camille off and running while she still can, why she could still strike iron, why the iron still has some heat to it, because you kind of just poured water on that fire tonight, and light that fire up again for her, because you're going to lose it if you let it go too long. She's going to be just another woman on the roster then, if you let it go too long.
I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I mean, you got Deonna Purrazzo, you got Taya Valkyrie, all who came in probably with the same amount of hype as Camille, went nowhere. Now they're just another name on the roster.
I'm surprised they don't have a show called "Where Are They Now" with.
Oh, they will.
I mean,
They
like
will.
Deonna Purrazzo and stuff, because it's like, where the hell are they now?
They will. I'm sure they will. That's coming in 2025. I'm sure. But Phil, your thoughts on this match?
Just a quick little side note: if Jade Cargill was still TBS champion to this very day, that would be a 1,029-day reign as TBS champion. So,
hey, I mean, Roman Reigns was champion for over 1,300 days, was it not?
1,316 to be exact. So yeah,
exactly.
So yeah, look, I lost 4 was way too soon. I do. I understand where everybody's coming from. You have to get Chris Statlander a win in order to get her to Mercedes. I get that. But Camille right now, she literally just got here, right? And, she had... Last week, we just saw her go up against Aminata, right? And that match was, for what it was, a really good match. I mean, Aminata did some really good stuff there, and, we saw what Camille did here. But you didn't have to have Chris Statlander win this matchup right here, right now, just to get to Mercedes. You could have done something like, we're what? Maybe we're what? 3 weeks, 4 weeks from Full Gear. You didn't have to do this right now. You could have done a win for Chris Statlander just to get to Mercedes down the line, a little bit further down the line, because right now Camille is a focus here that you should be focusing on, and so you should be doing that for Chris Statlander as well. But if you're going to have the end goal be Camille beating Mercedes for that TBS championship, you have to have her get some wins here. You do. And yeah, sure, the turn is ultimately going to happen. We saw Mercedes, do what she did tonight and demanded Camille to go to the backstage area. That the whole turn is happening too soon, because that partnership barely even got started. I'm just trying to figure out where things are going, and hopefully they actually have a plan for this, because I want that TBS championship to be on the right track. And I do hope that at some point down the line, when we do get that matchup between Camille and Mercedes, because that is happening down the line eventually, we do see Camille be that brick house that she has been branding herself to be. And ultimately, when she wins this TBS championship, because I do believe that would just be the case, she would beat Mercedes for that title. When she beats Mercedes for that title, hopefully they have a plan, because the last time we saw somebody win a women's championship when it was almost kind of inevitable, the plan, quote unquote, was never really a plan. They're just kind of holding them by the wayside. And that being Mariah May. So hopefully we have something in store for Camille down the line.
I agree. That they definitely need a plan, and just not let it just again just fall to pieces after she wins the championship. But I ultimately think that's what they're headed towards. Camille end up taking the TBS championship off of Mercedes Moné. But moving on from there, of course, then we have the backstage segment with the Bucks hightailing it from the arena. Danielson, not Danielson, but Christopher Daniels, pleading with them to stay, and Matthew Jackson basically saying, hey, I'm going to work from home. This place is chaos. It's no longer a safe space anymore that we created, so, hey, good luck, essentially. And they just hopped in the van and left. Brandon Cutler tries to catch them with this ginormous box of shoes that they packed up. They forgot. He turns around, and of course, he is met with the BCC. And of course, BCC obviously ambushed him. And then Claudio Castagnoli smashes his hand with the hammer. Obviously, this is all leading up to the Elite reforming. Again, we can only assume with Kenny Omega in tow and them going after it to fight the good fight for AEW against the BCC right now. And then, of course, we are getting into now the main event, which saw Swerve Strickland go and take on Shelton Benjamin. Like I said, I don't know. I never had this necessarily on in mind for a particular dream match at any point, but it was before our very eyes. It was definitely a dream match. You see Swerve Strickland at where he's at right now, and of course you see the phenomenal shape where Shelton Benjamin is at right now. Shelton Benjamin early on in his career, I think, was kind of the slimmer in even more athletic version of himself. Now he's just, he's just this powerhouse that is just completely shredded right now. And like I said, it's amazing to see the styles, because they almost have similar styles. So the similar styles kind of clashing right now in this particular match. It was fantastic. This was a great main event, great spot to put Swerve in. And like I said, and the great thing about this is neither one of them are world champion. Neither one of them are champions at all. So you're putting two premier athletes that they have right now in the main event spot, and great for Shelton Benjamin to be in a main event spot already. And he hasn't been with the company 6 months yet. So that's a fantastic spot to put both these guys at right now. And Swerve just coming back at the pay-per-view, a couple of weeks ago. So great spot to put these guys at. Nothing short of a spectacular match. And then, of course, afterwards, you then see MVP seen phoning somebody on the phone. And then, of course, the lights go out, come back on. And, of course, it is none other than Bobby Lashley debuting tonight on Fright Night Dynamite. And then, of course, him coming face-to-face with Swerve Strickland. Shelton Benjamin providing the distraction of Swerve Strickland. And then Bobby Lashley absolutely annihilating Swerve Strickland with a clothesline. And then, of course, Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley take out Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana. And then, of course, MVP topping all of this off with guess who's back in business. So the Hurt Syndicate, the trio, Shelton Benjamin, MVP, and Bobby Lashley are now complete in AEW. I'm going to get you guys' thoughts on this. Mike, I'm going to start with you.
I mean, two surprise losses in one night. First Camille, now Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin coming in AEW a month ago. Today was his 1 month of being in AEW. And you had him lose. And I get it. It got us to the point of where we got at the end with Bobby Lashley coming out. It's great to see. I heard an interview with Shelton Benjamin earlier today. And he had mentioned that, talked about the past with like his rivalry with Shawn Michaels and where he thought that was going to go. And obviously went nowhere, because he said he was in this high profile match with Shawn Michaels 1 week, and the next week he was losing in under 2 minutes. They kind of pretty much squashed a big story they were going to have for him in WWE. And he talked about how happy he is in AEW, happy where he's at now, and that it was pretty much MVP saying, like, let's go to AEW. Like, it was a group decision. It was kind of cool to hear that. Kind of cool to hear the backstory of how we got Shelton Benjamin, MVP, and now Bobby Lashley in AEW. It's kind of cool to hear those, behind the scenes things sometimes. Because sometimes you kind of sit and wonder as a fan, like, what led to the decision? Sometimes, you kind of want to know, sometimes you don't. But this is a great match between Swerve and Shelton Benjamin, regardless of Shelton Benjamin losing. And Bobby Lashley coming out, I mean, I'm excited to see where this group goes. I think there's one more member, and I don't want to say who it is yet. I don't. Because I want to see if it necessarily comes true. I actually have 2 people in mind to fit into this group as a fourth. Because as we know in history, with the Hurt Business, there's always 4. So I have a feeling that we're going to get one more. It was a great ending to a show. I'm ready to see Bobby Lashley and Swerve already. When we get it, who knows? But I know it's going to be a great match. It's going to be. And, yeah. Good show tonight.
Phil, your thoughts?
I think that match happens at Full Gear, quite honestly. Bobby and Swerve. I think that just makes all the most sense in the world, honestly. But I think this was just absolutely fantastic for the main event of Dynamite tonight. Swerve Strickland and Shelton Benjamin killed it. They killed it tonight. I was really shocked to see Shelton lose here, but it was all for the sake of getting everything back in business, so to speak, no pun intended, and getting Bobby Lashley out there to make the Hurt Syndicate full again. Now, like you, Mike, I think there is going to be a fourth. And you guys already know who I think the fourth man could be because I said it here on the show before. But, regardless, Bobby Lashley being in AEW, we all knew it was coming, but we just wanted to see how it was all going to come about. And I think they did it in one of the most perfect ways possible. This group means something here right now. And, it's very short-lived as of right now because things are just getting started with the Hurt Syndicate. But I'm very excited to see where this group goes. And I'm just really happy to see all three of them get their chance to shine here. Because in WWE, and I don't mean to make this a WWE thing, but during the pandemic era, we got to see what the Hurt Business could do, but it just really could not it was only scratching the surface until things kind of went the way things that they did. But now we can finally see a full run with this Hurt Syndicate, and I cannot wait to see where it goes.
Absolutely. We will definitely see what chaos they bring to AEW moving forward, and we will see who the fourth member could potentially be. But, gentlemen, that is all I got for you for AEW Fright Night Dynamite for 10/30/2024. Now it is time to plug yourself. Phil, where can we find you?
TikTok, Twitter, Instagram at PhillyMet_. You guys can also follow me on YouTube for both the channels that I have operating. My personal channel, just search my name, Phil B. Met. You'll be able to find it, as I will be getting to you guys my full in-depth preview and predictions for WWE Crown Jewel this coming weekend. So stay tuned for that. That video is coming tomorrow. And we will be having an Outside the Brand podcast happening this weekend, as well as we will be basically doing an entire series of booking WrestleMania from 6 months out to 3 months out. And then finally, when WrestleMania does get here in April, we'll do a full final overview of the card, obviously predictions when that happens, and just go through things there. But I appreciate everybody that has supported me, and I'll see you guys next week right here on the Boom.
Go follow Phil and everything that he's doing right now on the socials. Seems like he's got some exciting stuff cooking up in the vault right now. Mike, where can we find you?
Yeah, Metal Mike 714 all across the socials, Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. That's where you can find me. As far as on the network here, every Monday night after Monday Night Raw, 10:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the man with the best beard in the business, our host for the evening, Mr. Cam G from the Boom, my co-host on Monday nights. We have it's so much fun on Monday nights. It is. And we got a great plans coming up for the holidays. So stay tuned for the announcement of that. Cam, I think we're going to start making those announcements this week coming up.
Okay.
I think that's what we're going to do. But as far as much moving on from that, the Boom here every Wednesday night with these gentlemen after Dynamite. And every Sunday, Rivet City Red Zone, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with Candyman Johnny H. Now, Mike, Mr. MJ Duplessis, has been filling in for John the past couple weeks as John has been away. Mike will be with me again this Sunday, and we're going to have a special guest with us, Mr. Cam G. Going to be rocking the show with us on Sunday as we talk everything in the world of football. No, not baseball. We're not going to talk about the Dodgers just winning the World Series, But come join us, 11 a.m. on Sunday morning as we get you guys ready for kickoff on Sundays. And we are going to be talking a lot about college football this week. So be ready for that. Buckle up. And then Rivet City Red Zone's Halftime Heat. It's a recorded show I do twice a week. It's been a little bit since I've done it. I want to get back into the swing of things of doing it again. Just been having a lot of things going on with work and personal. So I'll be getting in the swing of that. starting next week.
As for myself, you can find me right here every single Wednesday night, of course, with The Boom with these two gentlemen, following AEW Dynamite. And then, of course, right here on the network, once again, every single Monday night with me and Mike. Obviously, we're going to make our announcement for what we're doing for the holiday shows. I'm very excited for those. There's going to be some very special episodes of The Table Spot after Monday Night Raw. Check us out there as well. And then, of course, on our sister page on Off the Top Media every single Friday night with me and the returning Scowls for Friday Night Review after Friday Night SmackDown. And of course, on my socials, you can find me on TikTok at Cam's Wrestling Corner for all things professional wrestling. And then outside of professional wrestling, you can find me on my other page at Call Me Cam G. In terms of Twitter, you can find me there at Cam and Cheese 317, and of course on Instagram at 317 Bacon, Eggs, and Cam. Love and appreciate all you guys coming by and checking out the stream tonight. Love, peace, and prosperity. And we are out.